people of Southern Cameroons, my dear people of Ambazonia, brave warriors of our liberation movement, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. This day is the 7th day of October, and the year is 2025. I'm delighted to be on this platform this early on this day so that we look at some very important issues going on, in the southern Cameroons and also, affecting our noisy neighbors of La République du Cameroun. There is so much that we're going to be talking about these days, and so as the time permits, we're going to be meeting a bit regularly. We're really going to be meeting on this platform. Somewhat regularly, if possible, even daily, but that will depend on the time that I have available to devote to this liberation movement. My dear people, I'm delighted to be here and I'm glad that you are connected so that we should have this very interesting conversation. I'd like to give shout outs to extend special salutes to our people on ground zero who are continuing to hold very strong, who even at this moment that I'm talking are still in the special ghost towns, what they call the lockdowns. And so I'm delighted that we are continuing to hold it very strong, continuing to demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt to the rest of the world, to the entire global community, that the people of the southern Cameroons do not want to have anything to do with La République du Cameroun. That the elections ongoing in La République du Cameroun come to us more or less as foreign news, but interest us simply because we want to know, what level of chaos will be out there, because it's definitely always going to end in chaos, and how that affects our liberation movement. That's our interest as far as that is concerned. So I want also to extend very special salutes to the business community, to the civil society in the southern Cameroon for continuing to hold very strong. I want to extend special salutes to our prisoners of war and prisoners of conscience. I want also to extend special salutes to all of those. I already said prisoners of war and prisoners of conscience who are in dungeons all over the world. I want to extend special salutes to our refugees in ground one, ground two, and ground three who are facing very difficult conditions, to the internally displaced people who also are really, really, really facing a lot of challenges, but continuing to stand strong. My dear people of Ambazonia, by the time I came to the studio, I got reports that it was not business as usual in Manu County in the southern zone, and specifically in a Umojok, is it a Umojok local government area leading down to that specifically in a Cock that is the border town with the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where the colonial administration of La République du Cameroun has continued to garner revenue from our people. So I understand that there was a battle that was codenamed the Battle of a Cock that took place yesterday, and that resulted to some deaths. I had the opportunity of seeing the picture of one of the elements of the occupational forces, the B of La République du Cameroun, that fell in that battle. My people of the southern Cameroons, I want to remark that it's always very painful for me when I see young people, either they are citizens of La République du Cameroun or those of the southern Cameroons, dying for nothing, for something that the decision makers know is wrong. Because the decision makers in La République du Cameroun know the truth. That much we now know. At least Issa Chiroma Bakari has told us with his own lips that while in government, he was forced, they actually scripted and gave him to read and to say that there was no such thing as a Southern Cameroon's question, and to say that there is some fallacy called one and indivisible, whereas he knows the contrary to be the truth. And he said he was literally constrained. So this much now we know. And I say, and I reiterate, to the soldiers of La République du Cameroun, to those colonial forces of La République du Cameroun going to drop their lives in the southern Cameroons, you are dying uselessly because you are dying for a war of blame. A war that does not have any basis, that has no foundations. A war that should not even be. Because as a matter of fact, every single individual in La République du Cameroun should by now be aware that La République du Cameroon's presence in the southern Cameroons is violating international law, because at no point in history do we see when the government of La République du Cameroon and the people of the Southern Cameroon signed a union treaty. There was an intention, an intent expressed through a plebiscite to acquire independence and join. But La République du Cameroon maliciously voted against independence for the Southern Cameroons in 1961 and on the 21st of April, because they already had, at the guidance of France, the intent to annex in violation of international law. Because at independence on the 1st of January 1960, the boundaries, the international boundaries of La République du Cameroon were frozen. Frozen. And La République du Cameroon signed that OAU treaty that actually consecrated the freezing of international boundary at independence. And so therefore, the only way La République du Cameroon could grow its territory to include the territory of the Southern Cameroons would be through the signing of a union treaty, not just mere the fact that some people express an intention. That is why at the level of the United Nations, they have never had a new map of Cameroon as is, including the territory of the Southern Cameroons. And you see, I'm going to be talking in this outing today about a journalist at CLTV, who today is a technical advisor at the presidency of the Republic of La République du Cameroon. His name is George Ewane Ngide. George Ewane Ngide was the reporter at the presidency of the Republic of La République du Cameroon on the day this particular event took place. George Ewane Ngide wrote a report that was broadcast on CRTV. Of course, at that time, I was working at CRTV. And in that report, George Ewane Ngide rightly called these maps by the territories they represented. He said one of the maps represents the territory of La République du Cameroon, with its boundaries acquired at independence on the 1st of January 1960, and the other one represents the map of the territory of the former UN Trust territory of British Southern Cameroons, with its international boundaries acquired at independence in 1961. And the two, of course, were to come together to form a union of two states equal in status. But in effect, because La République du Cameroon and France were blinded with annexationist tendencies, with annexationist thoughts, they forgot to take care of this legal loophole, because they believed that we were going to be so easily assimilated. There were 2 cubes of sugar that were going to be easily swallowed. And so therefore, they never followed through to ensure that a treaty of union was signed and new documents deposited at the United Nations, and a new map encompassing at this time legally the territories of La République du Cameroon and that of the Southern Cameroons in one, deposited at the United Nations. That never happened. And so that is why when La République du Cameroon was celebrating 50 years of its independence, they had this very rude reminder. And of course, George Ewane Ngide, at that time, spoke the facts. He stood by the facts, and he was reprimanded. He received a query letter, and that report was ordered withdrawn. It was no longer rebroadcast the next day in the news briefs, in the television news brief, as it was traditional, with all articles that were broadcast on the 7:30 p.m. news the previous day. So this is something that we need to bear in mind, and we always have to know and keep this truth close to us. Fortunately enough, the actors themselves are beginning to speak, and we are beginning to hear exactly what they bear in their minds. To kickstart this broadcast, folks, let's begin with Jean-Paul Sartre. And this thought is very dear to me, and will be will be very essential for an understanding of this particular broadcast, of the content of this broadcast. My dear people, Jean-Paul Sartre, the French philosopher, says it clearly. He puts it in a way no one can doubt it. He says, to do evil, a human being must first of all believe that what he is doing is right. So to do evil, a human being must first of all close their hearts to truth, close their eyes to the reality, stew their minds to begin to live in a world different from the normal world in which we are, right like this. As Jean-Paul Sartre says, because this human being must first of all believe that what he's doing is right to enable them to do evil. So that is why you be complaining about bad roads that are telling you these are the best roads. Why you are complaining about the absence of hospitals, will be telling you you have the most ultra-modern hospitals. Why you are complaining about frequent power outages, no electricity and all, they'll be telling you you are living in an El Dorado. Where you are complaining that you don't have potable water in your place, they tell you that there is abundance of water until you don't even know what to do with it. Where you are complaining that, the cost of telecommunication is too high, almost the highest in Africa south of the Sahara. They tell you that, in fact, you are having the best like everywhere else. So that is the thing here. That is the point right here. So all your complaints and all of those things, where I complain there's rampant poverty, they tell you that they are seeing abundance. So they create a world of their own and they live in that world in order to pursue this evil agenda peacefully with full conviction. So when they speak, sometimes you think that they are that they just want to speak what they're saying. No, they are actually believing what they are saying. This is for a fact, and you're going to see that right ahead. So let's get into the viv of our discussion. As the election fever is hotting up in La République du Cameroun, the tensions we have been expecting to rise are gradually gaining momentum. The tension is gradually gaining momentum. Now, did Chiroma go out with on agreement with Mr. Paul Biya's government to go and try to see how to, walk the terrain and in the end vouch to him? Or did he go out because he felt that he had a fair chance? Whichever way you look at it, would the events happen on the ground right now? Issa Chiroma Bakari has it in his head now that he has a veritable shot at becoming president of that country. And so, were there earlier agreements, and does Mr. Chiroma still intend to stand by them? It's going to be very difficult to say. This will be the subject of another discussion, and it will be a very interesting discussion. Absolutely do not miss it when you come across it. When I do put that particular debate in motion, because it's going to be extremely interesting. So it has come to pass that Issa Chiroma has left his base of the North region, the Benue, because Issa Chiroma Bakari is from the Benue division of the North region, Maroua, Central. So he left his base and he's gone around, and the crowds have been unimaginable. Some people describe them as the Frundi-like crowds of the 1990s. And so the government of La République du Cameroun, faithful to their options, faithful to their approaches, faithful to their, to their political orientations, are already becoming paranoid, really, really paranoid. And so, therefore, because Atanga Ponji tells himself the day Chiroma returns to Maroua is going to be really tough, and he tells himself it's possible that Issa Chiroma Bakari could, on the day of the elections or on the night of the elections, assembly results he would have gotten from the various polling stations could simply already declare his victory at those elections. And so Issa Chiroma Bakari has targeted the Benue division, which is, not Issa Chiroma Bakari, Paul Atanganji, the Lucifer of La République du Cameroun, has targeted the Benue division for the beginning of absolute militarization, because the plan, as I got, is absolutely to militarize the Benue to the point where even to go out of your house and pee may seem impossible after on the day of the election. As soon as they say voting is over, it's going to be really hard. Everything will have to be done to make sure they confine Issa Chiroma Bakari to one spot. That is why you see the SDO of the Benue from nowhere says in this press release issued today, the 6th day of October, he says the sous concordants, this communiqué radio,
des sources concordantes font état de ce que un des candidats à l'élection présidentielle du 12 octobre 2025 projetterait d'organiser avec ses partisans et sympathisants de troubles à l'ordre public visant à déstabiliser la ville de Garoua pendant et après l'élection présidentielle. So see what it says. So it says that it has sources that from very credible sources. There are indications that one of the candidates, don't forget that there are two candidates who hail from the Benue, Issa Chiruma Bakari and Bello Buba Maigari. Both of them are from Garua. Both of them are from the north. But you see, they're not saying some candidates, they say one of the candidates, which means they've already discounted Bello Buba Magari. Their focus now is on Issa Chiruma Bakari, of course, whose name they don't call here. This is their modus operandi. They usually don't call names, so they are targeted to say a certain, to create some ambiguity, but they know exactly who or what they are talking about. So they say it's planning to create an insurrection in the town of Garua during and after the presidential election. Because this is what he says. Il says, dans la ville de Garoua, pendant et après l'élection présidentielle. Not before, during and after. But it says during and after. Mark those words very clearly. Because when you see this kind of communique, you can just read it and say, oh, what they're saying, that's it. No. There are technicalities inside that document that should tell you exactly what is being planned. So this tells you that the fire that we've been expecting to happen could jolly well happen. And so they say le préfet met en garde contre tout appel à la violence et à la déstabilisation susceptible de nuire à la paix et à la tranquillité. So why are they budging on the 6th already? On the 6th of October. You're already talking about during the vote and after the vote. Really? So somebody should make this make sense to me. If someone makes this make sense to me, I mean, I'll be really glad. But this preempting, you recall that Atanga Ponji had previously made an outing and said he's warning some people who are likely or who are hoping or who are planning to announce results to publish, and he called them illegal results, before the organ charged with the power to publish results. So this should be very clear. So the choice of the town of Garua is not by chance. So he says, à cet effet, il tient à rappeler fermement qu'aucun acte de vandalisme et de désordre ne sera aucunement toléré. Tout éventuel auteur et complice de ces actes malsains et illégaux projetés dans le département de la Benue sera sévèrement sanctionné. Of course. So you see, this warning is coming early enough because they need to prepare the minds of the populations. They need to set fear. They need to already plant terror in their minds. They need to set the scene so that you know that if on that day this man declares I am, no dog should show their nostril outside, and they are going to deal with him, I mean, with all forms, that with the full force, not of the law, with the full force of the brutality that we know them for. And this is so Atanga Ponji, like, and I think that is why, and I got this picture, I need to give credit to the platform of Mimi Mefo, that is why they did not put but a picture of the SGO of the Benue who signed this press release alongside the press release. You see, I credit those people who did it because this was very thoughtful and the imagination was, I mean, it was really ingenious. And that's why I decided to pick this picture in particular, and that's why I'm giving credit because I didn't create it. So it tells you all. So this SGO does this, but everybody that reads it sees Atanganji in the wordings of this communique. And anyone that reads it understands the plan of action already being put in place. This is typical. And so it goes on. He said, Toutefois, le préfet invite les candidats à l'élection présidentielle du 12 octobre 2025 au respect de lois et à la réglementation en vigueur et de continuer à faire tenir aux autorités administratives de séance leur programme de campagne pour un encadrement optimal de leurs activités. So he says, in fact, this one now is just blah, blah, blah. The real message is the message I read above. Because it now says that the presidential candidates are urged to, inform the administration about their campaign schedules so that they could have security coverage and all of those things. Since when has that been happening in that area? So, but like, I don't need to take a lot of our time reading through this communique. The most important thing is that we grasp, the part that is absolutely important. Because you see, normally, the scene usually in the Republic is order will reign before, during, and after the election. But on this particular communique, they are still in the campaign period. So they're not saying during. So when the SDO down there says that, okay, inform about your campaign schedule, so it should be covered, you should have security coverage. But of course, his concern is not this period, the campaign period. His concern is during and after the election, which means on the day of the election and what happens after the day of the elections. So that is very telling. So this is not just a communique like every other communique, no. And the town, the cities picked for this particular communique is not by chance. There are activities all over the place. I have not seen an avalanche of these communiques from other areas. In other areas, all the divisional officers do is try to send police and gendarmes to interrupt, to block passages, to deny access to some kind of places and all of that. But here, this is a communique where none of those presidential candidates is even in Garoua at this time or has even planned a rally in Garoua this day or any of these days leading to Wednesday or Thursday. So this is something to bear in mind. So we keep the watch very seriously. And then I'll get back to Issa Chiruma Bakari. Issa Chiruma Bakari's passage in Bamenda has, created a lot of debate. Because while some students say, oh, the people really went out a lot so enthusiastically to welcome Issa Chiruma Bakari in Bamenda. That shows that the people really want to go out there and vote. And so why are these people stopping there? The people really want to support their candidate. But I did read on this platform on Sunday. When they watched some of the, I think that was in my broadcast of yesterday. What some of the, that was yesterday Sunday. What some of the people who were there said that no, they were a captive audience. And then you can see from the foregoing that these were not really enthusiastic followers of Issa Chiruma Bakari. But at least he was able to capture a place that got him the possibility to get a captive audience for a boisterous rally. And at which rally he made declarations that have become very strong today. While on the side of the people of the southern Cameroons, some people are focusing on his professed friendship and relationship and everything with Chris Anu. Of course, I watched a clip of Chris Anu talking to Angie Forbin. And in that clip, in his discussion with Angie Forbin, of course, Chris admits that he has been in communication with Issa Chiruma Bakari, but would not say that it is a level of friendship that Issa Chiruma Bakari claimed. That is not my business. I really don't want to get into that debate. But because I was talking about it, I couldn't definitely avoid mentioning it. Because, like I said already, it's a source for distraction for some people who feel that at all costs, our point should be on some of those things that those politicians say. There are a lot of issues that we have within, our liberation movement, and of course, that the Republic of Cameroon also has within their governing apparatus, and there are always, available means to address some of those issues, come to clear understanding of why certain things happen the way they happen, and we move forward. But for Issa Chiruma Bakari, those statements were not also well seen in La République du Cameroun, and you understand why just in a minute. But at the same time, Issa Chiruma Bakari, despite screaming, "Have you forgiven me?" Yes! And in the end, he tried to put it to test, and immediately the people, not the leaders of the liberation movement abroad, not Southern Cameroonians in the diaspora, not the voices in the bushes, not anybody, the common people put Issa Chiruma Bakari to, they placed Issa Chiruma Bakari and La République du Cameroun exactly on the pedestal where they should stand. This clip is so interesting and very, very telling. Listen.
Very much. Thank you very, very much. May the Lord bless us. Now we are going to sing our national anthem. This is the ballot. Very much. Thank you very, very much.
So if you look at that clip keenly, you listen to what is being discussed. The devil is in the detail. You hear when he says, now let us sing our national anthem. There was some degree of silence first. And then a voice tells him in the background, now that one go hard. Now that one go hard. And now that one go worry. So where are you? Do you know where you stand? Are you aware the place where you are at this particular point in time? What are you asking us to sing? An anthem? The anthem of which country? In which country are you? So the people of Bamenda remind Issa Chiruma Bakari immediately of that important fact, that where you are in foreign territory. So you cannot ask us to sing the national anthem of your country right here. See, you are in foreign territory. This are the local people. This is the common man on the street in Bamenda. Nobody was there educating them. No, Chiruma will say, do this, don't do it, say it that way. That was spontaneous. That was clear. And the message was, unambiguous. And Issa Chiruma Bakari quickly understood. You could notice that one of his advisors told him immediately, oh God, don't go that way. That don't go down that route. If you don't want this whole thing to turn nasty right now, don't go down that route. There were no freedom fighters there. There were no voices in the bushes there. There was no member of the leadership of the liberation movement present there. Those that Issa Chiruma called separatists were not there. And against the people were actually reminding him that was separatist. You used it at the wrong place. Because you're in a different territory. You're in a different country. That your anthem does not apply here. So you can't sing it here. Did Chiruma push further? No, he couldn't. Watch it again.
May the Lord bless us. Now we are going to sing our national anthem. This is the ballot.
So you hear they tell him that one go harder. That one, don't go there. And you see that it didn't take seconds for him to quickly understand that I may be pushing the limits. That may be pushing the limits beyond the threshold of conformity here in Bamenda. Oh, yes. And you see that he quickly switches to now presenting a sample of his ballot paper and all of those things. I guess you would have left from there and said, oh my goodness, this is something. Those are the local people. Those are the people that some social media charlatans say are being manipulated, are being forced, are being threatened to stay home, are being threatened to do this. Those were the people. Those are today free like that in the crowd. Nobody was there to tell them anything. But the people made their voice heard. But the people reminded Issa Chiruma Bakari. You can sing there, song here, yes. Have you forgiven me? Yes, we have forgiven you. But listen, we don't belong. That your nonsense you call anthem does not apply here. I don't know what else to say, but this is by far the strongest message for this entire 2025. This is by far the strongest signal. This is by far, one of the most consequential statements made. Because this is a huge statement. They spoke, Issa Chiroma Bakari bowed. Because they know that the territory of the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons is not part of La République du Cameroun. They can well sing the one and indivisible from morning, afternoon, evening till the next generation. It won't change that. That is the fact. It remains the fact. And I think the lesson is a very strong one. And I'm convinced that in consular offices in Yaoundé, when they saw this, when they heard this, when they look at this clip, they understand that the narrative that they have been vehicling to them has absolutely no connection with the reality on the ground. Now they understand from the people, from the local people, that the people themselves are speaking, and speaking triumphantly, boldly, without fear. Oh yes, I couldn't be more proud of my people of Ambazonia. I couldn't be more proud of the level of awareness our people have developed. I couldn't be more proud of the level of political astuteness that our people have acquired over time. This was the message. And so, there is another view of what transpired in Bamenda following Mr. Issa Chiroma Bakari's visit. A journalist of CRTV, a one-time journalist of CRTV, because no longer a journalist, George Ewanengide, has a story to tell us right ahead. But before we get there, let's share this thought. That nowadays, people don't defend what is right. They defend who they like and benefit from. Nowadays, people don't defend what is right. They defend who they like and benefit from. That much already we got from Issa Chiroma's statement when he said he was constrained, he was minister of the Republic at the time, and the official position was to tell lies. The official position was to deny the truth. The official position was to see red and call it blue. The official position was to see white and call it black. And so he washed his hands and he asked for forgiveness, but that's what he did. But this thought actually takes me exactly to what George Ewanengide says here. George Ewanengide decided to weigh in on what Issa Chiroma Bakari's passage in Bamenda. And this is what George says in his the header of his reflection that he posted on Facebook. And just to remind you, George Ewanengide is now technical advisor at the presidency of the Republic of La République du Cameroun. He's no longer a journalist at the CRTV. So George says, Issa Chiroma, this man is dangerous. And then he writes, my dear fellow countrymen, the time is critical. But let me start with a riddle. Who claims to love the Republic, but flirts with its stupids? Now, I want to stop there quickly. Who claims to love the Republic, but flirts with its stupids? That statement tells me something about George Ewanengide. Because it says flirt with its stupids. He is referring to those who are fighting for the freedom of the Southern Cameroons as the stupids, simply because Issa Chiroma Bakari said he was in touch with Chris Anu, that he was good friends with Chris Anu, that he had been communicating regularly with Chris Anu, and so for George Ewanengide, those who are fighting for the freedom of the Southern Cameroons, those who are fighting for the truth, those who are seeking to recover a stolen country, a country from which he, George Ewanengide, belongs. the country to which he belongs, George Ewanengide, considers everybody in a bunch as stupids. But this is the same George Ewanengide that I quoted a few moments ago when he was presenting, when he wrote an article reporting on the presentation of these two maps by a delegation from the United Nations to President Paul Biya. In 2010, this George Ewanengide had the facts. He knew the facts. He worked on the facts, and he reported the facts. Today, George Ewanengide is no longer at that point. Today, George Ewanengide is at this point where I say to do evil, a human being must first of all believe that what he is doing is good. Because George Ewanengide is on the side of that particular system. Because he is now part and parcel of that particular system. He is now lost in that world, that imaginary world that I talked about earlier. Like this world, where you say, that world where you now believe everything that you say to be true, although the things that you are seeing before you demonstrate to you beyond reasonable doubt that what you are saying is a lie. So George Ewanengide, rightfully at this point in time, is living in a utopic world, not in a real world. And I've said several times that the governing class in La République du Cameroun live in a world of make-believe. They have their own way they see things. It's not the way the normal man sees them. And so from that premise, that's why George Ewanengide will refer to us, all of us, all the intellectuals of the Southern Cameroons standing up for the truth. In the eyes of George Ewanengide, are stupids. In the eyes of George Ewanengide, Professor Carlson Anyangwe is a stupid. In the eyes of George Ewanengide, in fact, I don't want to name just too many because there are just too many of those people that I can quote here. That when it comes to intellectual wherewithal, even besides calling himself doctor or associate professor, George Ewanengide will not qualify to clean their shoes. But because of where he stands, the imaginary world he has created for himself, he cannot see them as the stupids. He continues. Let's move on. And so George says, who wants to lead Cameroon but asks for Chris Anu's blessing? He goes on. Who campaigns in Bamenda but passes through the corridors of Ambazonia? George Ewanengide, you just saw a while ago that yes, you have to pass through the corridors of Ambazonia because Bamenda is in Ambazonia. And there is nothing that you and the real stupids of the world, because that is the class to which you absolutely belong from what you have written. You are part now of the real stupids. For you to imagine that Bamenda is not in Amazonia, say, who campaigns in Bamenda but passes through the corridors of Amazonia? There's nothing you can do about it. And George Ewanengide, just so you know, the answer to this question is given to you here by the common man in Bamenda. Listen again. If you didn't hear well, listen to the common man in Bamenda.
Very much. Thank you very, very much. May the Lord bless us. Now we are going to sing our national anthem.
George Ewanengide, did you hear it? Eclair? Those are the people of Bamenda. The people, the community, the population of Bamenda, reminding Issa Chiruma Bakari that here is Ambazonia. It's not Chris Anu. No, George, it's not Chris Anu. It's the people telling Issa Chiruma Bakari, you cannot sing that your nonsense, that anthem of La République du Cameroun, here in Bamenda, because here is Ambazonia. So I guess that just right up to this point where you are, you now understand that that world of stupids that you created is actually the world to which you belong. Because if you put your ears on the ground to listen, you understand that Issa Chiruma Bakari has a master of the situation better than you do. And so he continues, and then he decides to answer himself. He says, answer. Let me go back there so you can be seeing snipers. He says, answer. Issa Chiroma Bakari, presidential candidate, friend of secessionists, and now head of parallel diplomacy between the Republic and the rebellion. Now, George Ewanengide, you have gone to school. I can't doubt your education. I wouldn't do that for nothing in the world. We have worked together as colleagues. We have even been friends. We have belonged to the same gathering, George. I don't want, so for that reason, for that particular reason, I really want to have a lot of restraint and not really go so much into the merits of the things that you said here, George. So let's be very clear here and factual. When you, George Ewane, you refer to us, to the people of the southern Cameroons, seeking justice for our people as secessionists, are you for real? Are you for real? Secessionists? You only secede from something that you belong to. And you just know better than I do that that word is inappropriate. And I hope that when you decide to repent like Issa Chiroma Bakari, you will not forget to outline that I'm sorry I once referred to you people as secessionists when you were not. Note that down. I suppose you write it somewhere so you don't forget. And then he continues. He says, yes, you heard that right. As our soldiers fall, as our children flee from burning schools, as villages empty and coffins fill, Mr. Chiroma calls Chris Anu, the older brother of the field marshal, the warlord who transformed the Lebialem hills in the cemetery, and says to him, Chris, I'm going to Bamenda. Keep me safe. Let me hold here. Now, George Ewanengide, you say, yes, you heard that right. As our soldiers fall, George Ewane, you care just about the soldiers that are falling. I thought George Ewanengide, you will recall that the dogs from La République du Cameroun burnt down 400 village communities in the southern Cameroons. Or you don't have that in your chronicle? This is documented. That the dogs of La République du Cameroun burnt down 400 villages. Burnt Mami Api alive in her house. Burnt vulnerable old people who could not run in their houses. Roasted them alive. George Ewanengide, you watched with the rest of the world helplessly as the soldiers of Mr. Paul Biya skinned Sam Sawyer, a handicapped fellow who could never help himself, alive on motion pictures. You watched George. George, you hurt the government that you serve. Finally take responsibility for killing 21 children, old people, and pregnant women in Gabu. School-going children. Burnt them alive. Killed them like that. Roasted them like they roast animals. Like they roast game. As if they were doing barbecue, George Ewanengide. In this statement, you don't mention them. You are concerned about, yes, you heard that right, as our soldiers fall, our children flee from burning schools. We have images, videos of soldiers of La République du Cameroun burning a school in Lebialem, in Menji. Human Rights Watch has it. Yes, Human Rights Watch has it. Not just Human Rights Watch. All other human rights organizations have them. They have those images. It was horrific. As they rose, as they burnt village after village, enforcing Paris-sponsored scorched earth policy. George Ewane, you stayed quiet. You said nothing. Today, you are concerned about your soldiers. The same soldiers that gunned down Bebe Carol Louise in Biya while she was on the way in the car being driven to school. George Ewane, did you talk about that? Did you bother about Bebe Carol Louise? Or did you bother about Bebe Tato Brandy, who was gunned down to in Bamenda by soldiers of La République du Cameroun coming back from school? Did you mention them? Or those ones for you? Oh no, those soldiers were just having a bad day, right? Like seriously? Okay. And you are from Southern Cameroons. Amazing. And so he said, yes, you heard that right. As our soldiers fall, our children flee from burning schools. He's saying this, flee from burning schools. As villages empty and coffins fill, Mr. Chiruma calls Chris Anu. So he says, oh well, since when do presidential candidates ask for safety from arsonists? Ah, George Ewanengide. George, come here, my friend. Come, George Ewanengide, come here. You are technical advisor to the chief arsonist of all times. Is it a secret to anybody that the soldiers of La République du Cameroun, whose commander-in-chief is your boss, the one you are technical advisor to, maybe you are even the one advising him to do some of those things, who doubts that they are the ones moving with a box of match, burning down communities in collective punishment on a daily basis? George, who did you refer to as arsonists? I wish you look yourself in the mirror. Because if you do, you understand where this statement is coming from. I know it's actually reverse psychology right there. I say, since when do the aspirants of national unity go through the paths of sedition? I won't even address that. And then he leaves from there. He writes, the theater of absurdity. You won't see that because it was pretty long. I just captured it here. But let's go. He says, why the people are crying? Chiruma dialogue. Why schools burn? Chiruma fraternizes. Why children are deprived of the future? Chiruma negotiates his electoral tour with the war chiefs. And all of that with a smile, boldly to say, these are my friends. We talk to each other all the time. Now, I thought Joshua Wane was going to be worried at the time that Jacques-Emile Banqui, who was in charge of Semil, said he was in touch with Chris Anu all the time. Oh, you forgot that, George Ewanengide? You forgot? It's so shameful, so disgusting. I mean, so outright disgusting to imagine that people from other countries, people from other parts of the world have been bemoaning the plight of the people of the Southern Cameroons, bemoaning the plight of your people, George Ewanengide. And you come here, you take delight in bemoaning the plight of those who are the aggressors, of those who are the arsonists, of those who are killing your people, maiming them, raping your sisters, raping your brothers and uncles' wives, extorting from your people on a daily basis. George, I expected that you would express outrage when I published the names of the so-called forces of La République du Cameroun in Meme, their names and pictures. I didn't blow that whistle. The whistle was blown by Zuimanto, an activist of La République du Cameroun for that matter, who got those names, blew the whistle, and all their names and pictures were there as being people who were organizing the rings of kidnapping for ransom in Meme. Just as I'm talking now, that the soldiers of La République du Cameroun in Touba are organizing the rings of kidnapping for ransom and extorting between 15 and 20 million CFA francs every day from our people. You couldn't talk. But you find your voice. You find your voice in protecting or in speaking for a genocidal system. Or perhaps just this again. Nowadays, people don't defend what is right. They defend who they like and benefit from. Oh, yeah, I was almost forgetting. You know, folks, I have to constantly come to this because it will keep me on track so that I don't forget that this is exactly what is going on right now. That this is exactly what motivates this this missile by George, or this missile by George Ewanengide. And then he gets down to the figures. 6,000 deaths since the beginning of the crisis. 6,000 deaths. Attributed to who? Oh, those 6,000 deaths are all your soldiers? Because you're just worried about your soldiers. According to Nzuman, to put the figure of your soldiers at less than close to 2,000. Although I know the official figure is far larger than that. But you are talking 6,000 of your soldiers? Okay, 638,000. Oh, he even writes for French, déplacé. I'm sure he wanted to say displaced people. Déplacé. Sans toit ni école. More than 200 schools destroyed, sometimes with students inside. Teachers beheaded, nurses abducted, policemen executed. Oh, policemen executed. Okay. And then he says, Josh Ewane says, oh no, now they see him but his face, so you understand that he's the one talking. Now Josh Ewane says, and in the face of this, what does Chiruma propose? Phone call with Chris Anu, a verbal hawk in Ambazonia, a political selfie with the saboteur of the republic. Now, who are those saboteurs of the republic that you are talking about, Josh Ewane? Because you say selfie with the saboteur of the republic. Chris Anu was not in Bamenda. Issa Chiruma, oh yeah, selfie. This is Josh Ewane, are these the people you call the saboteur of La Republic? The citizens of the country, they are the ones you call the saboteurs of La Republic? These are just few persons. If I give you a wider shot, you will see more of them. Are these the people you refer to as the saboteurs of La Republic? Truly, by people say, when the gods want to destroy a man, they first of all make him mad. Otherwise, I don't know what else to say, but let's continue with George. We are not done. George said, Cameroun is not for sale. Cameroun deserves better than a candidate in body of the rebels mode. He deserves a head of state. That he wants to say Cameroun, he wants to say he deserves a head of state, not an ambassador of ambiguity. He deserves a builder, not a merchant of fear. If the republic is a house, then Chiruma knocks on the door with a lighter in one hand and a smile on the other. But we, the people of Cameroon, have a memory. And in 2025, we will vote for the truth, not for duplicity. So let me show you the specific truth that George Ewane and those he says, the real citizens of Cameroon will be voting for come the 12th of October 2025. Take a walk. George, don't go away. Watch with me.
And the people go on top of this thing.
Now, so I do want to suffer.
You never know it. People pay other things. Unless you go to do something where man the grand for no man in village.
Thank Raya. Now for Tombe Road this way to go for Nyasoso, for Kupe Maninguba. Now way grand you don't.
Just so you know, George Ewane is from Tombe local government area. Just so you know. That's why I'm saying this is that truth that we were talking about. Watch, George.
Kukuma cut for up for that side for Suke. You don't show away all for roads. As I talk for you now, thank Raya, with the dig and like say with the dig na grave. Because you don't cover all road where even track no day for machine for pass. Ambassador, yeah, people for here they suffer. Road you know day. And they say election they come, road you know day. How we go do for Kupe Maninguba? For Tombe subdivision. Now people them this way, some of them na officer them, some of them na farmer them, some of them na business people. Some of them na Okada people. But all man don't live, he walk away, they work for fine is small money for the dig road. So ambassador, we send them for you now, make you see how you feel send them for Kukuma. Make them know how they go help people for Kupe Maninguba. Man over there with the jig. Now one of our brother them this way to get moto, businessman. And as you saw now, so he don't post the business because the road don't spoil. But I wait if you tell Tank Raya this morning.
I tell Cameroon say Kupe Maninguba raise 100 million for me rally for Bangem. They not be able for use 3 million through gravels or road. And we use 100 million for make cultural and festival for Tombe. But we not get road where we even work and go that Tombe. So they say I will be told say if sick he pass hospital they go for Kandastic. The one for Tombe will say don't pass up for Kandastic. So we don't know where to go if he talk.
So George, you heard them right. You heard them right. That is that truth that you are talking about. That you all, people like you, George, and all the other ones who are benefiting from the system, you can raise 100 million to hold a rally in Bangem, but they did 3 million just to throw gravel on this road. 3 million, they can't have it. That is that truth that you are talking about. Why will Issa Chiruma Bakari not want to listen to the people? Tell him what the truth is. That is not all. Let's continue, George. You have a lot of messages to hear.
This is why they say one beer out of Tombell, 1,500. One beer. When I see everything they suffer, not easy. Going to Nyasoso now up to Bangim is a nightmare. The one that when I pick the car, I'm so pick. When I say when I pick so the car, I pick. It's what I don't want. The woman and the Cameroonians, for their road, the job is they are strangers. In the heart of election. 26. Hey, mommy, how are you? Yeah. They will be away. That is the last.
Yeah, George Ewanengide. This is the road to Bangem. Bangem is the headquarter of Kupe Wanenguba County that you hail from. The other one I showed you, that was between Nyasoso and Tombell. George Ewanengide, you're specifically from Tombell local government area. But this is heading to the headquarters. But of course, you are from southern Cameroon. So I'm not sure you limited just the area because this is that truth. George Ewane says it is the truth that has to prevail. The truth, all of the truth, and nothing but the truth. Let's go now to the road to Ekondo Titi. George, this is that truth still. So George, you see for yourself, you see that you think that is somebody fishing. It's not fishing. That is the road, George Ewanengide. That is the road. That is the road. Around that's a Kumba, Ekondo Titi around Ekondo. This is the road. You see how that driver has to swim in mud in order to try to fix the car. I mean, swim in mud right under in order to try to fix the car to navigate this truth that George Ewane is presenting to us. This is that truth that we are talking about. This is that truth. When the people of the Southern Cameroon go through this kind of ordeal, why would they think for 1 second that there is any reason for them to belong to, a country of lost souls, to a country without perspective, to belong to an entity governed by Lucifer? Why should the people think they have any reason to belong to such? Hi, George. Okay. Let's leave from there. Let's come to Bamenda. George, open your eyes.
No man no can fool and say anything apart from RDPC, CPG and Big Good, we not forget about that one. Those are na Paul Biya they win. Na Paul Biya they give you power. Na Paul Biya they give you development. And the news that will carry on from here.
So that truth is out. That truth is unambiguous, George. So, just so they see your face one last time, this George Ewanengide, it was seems that we were talking about with all those truths. And George, yeah, I can understand where you are coming from. That's why Alexandra Solzhenitsyn says, evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. Evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. That is the only reason you will stand with the soldiers of La République du Cameroun, defend them, not call them the name that Israeli Diaz, the arsonists. You prefer to take it and use that name on the victims of the arsons of La République du Cameroun. That is why you will take the genocidal action of the Southern Cameroons and not refer to them. You rather refer to those fighting to liberate the people as being the perpetrators of their own doom. George, fortunately enough, we have scholars like Alexandra Solzhenitsyn who can speak the truth, who says evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. Otherwise, no one will be able to understand very vividly, very quickly, why you, who comes from the Southern Cameroons, who has the possibility to experience what the people are experiencing, that you rather prefer to stand with the oppressor. Chiruma has decided to repent and to stand on the right side of history. Even if you were not sincere, at least today, the chronicles have it down that he has repented, he has told the truth, he has made clear that he was constrained to say the things that he said because of the position he held. And that he knew the truth, but was constrained to say the contrary. You too, I know one day you will say so. But George, for now, you are still on the wrong side of history. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into the beef of our discussion. Very beautiful number there with the Monique. I mean, that was good enough to help us take away the the stress and the depression of having to listen to negative people and to negative thoughts to talk about negative energy. So I'm very delighted that we had the Monique from Manu County to to grace our moment. So thank you, my people. Thank you, my dear people. If you are just joining, make sure you share the link and share as much as possible so we get as many people as possible to be part of this broadcast, to share in this conversation. You're welcome back. And so it has come to pass that Paul Biya Barthélemy Bimvodo, the 93-year-old diaper-wearing génocidaire from La République du Cameroun, the ancient of days, that he is finally hitting the campaign trail today. This 7th day of October 2025. 5 days from election day. 5 days from election day. These other people, the other legislators have been campaigning for at least 2 months today. Yeah, they have been everywhere, on the field, everywhere. Paul Biya had not opened his mouth yet, right up to this moment, to say a single word about the election. Even if to just say, I am declaring my intention to run for another 7-year term. I saw among the flyers and the posters and everything that they are printed, there are already some that because they spent 11 billion to print those things in China, they decided to look ahead. There are already some that carry Paul Biya for president 2032. Paul Biya for president 2032. I already saw some of them. And so I'll find time and share them here. But don't hold me to that. And if you take me for my word, you're on your own. So yeah, that is it. And so finally, the ancient of days is going to hit the campaign trail. Recall yesterday when I shared this from J. Remingono. I took time off to explain. That was on Sunday, not yesterday. That was on Sunday. I took time off to explain that I know that this could be a maneuver. This could be some information meant to try to create a kind of situation so rumors should run wild. Oh, Biya, perhaps he's dying, perhaps he's this, perhaps he is going to not be anywhere and all. So that when he shows up, they should then say, look at him, il est ceci, il est atypique, il est bon, il est nyang. And then I said, but all the same, I know there could still be something on it because J. Remingono is, a very careful activist whose fingers too have been burnt by this whole nonsense of Biya alive or Biya dead. And so, he's very careful. And so, of course, what he said, he reiterates it. He stands by it here when he announces today. He says, oh no, is that it? No, not that, this one, yes, this one. Yes, when he announces today, he says, alerte, 26 marabouts indiens logés à la maison des autres ont passé la nuit au chevet de Paul Biya. Un avion médicalisé de la CIA partira avec Biya à Maroua. So you heard that clear. So of course, which means that The issue of the fact that there was an air ambulance coming in, Rimingono doubles down, is not discounted, and at least for that particular one, I was able to confirm that yesterday on the 6th of October, late evening, about 8:30 to 9 p.m. I was able to, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I was able to confirm that with sources on the ground that the air ambulance had effectively landed in Yaoundé and will be taking Paul Biya to Maroua. Air ambulance. Why does he need to go to Maroua in an air ambulance? Within his country, an air ambulance that tells you that the state of his health is really worrisome to the point where they fear anything can happen at any time. So he needs to have acute facility. That's why he's moving with an air ambulance. That is, you can call that a mobile hospital. That's what it is. He's moving with a mobile hospital on the campaign trail. That is actually like campaigning with syringes and everything all over his body. Because they needed him to at least go out once. And then Remingono, goes further to make me laugh by saying, Vinci Marabout Indian, that there were 26 Indian sorcerers, or Indian marabouts, Indian sorcerers who spent the night at the maison de Zod is, the guest house there at Montfebe, near the hotel Montfebe in Yaoundé. So it says 26 of them spent the night there, and they were really taking turns to care for Paul Biya, to make sure that they will keep him in a state to resist the few minutes that he will stand up in Maroua today to make a campaign speech. And so at the same time, they're all going to travel with him, but they couldn't be too sure, so they need to get an air ambulance to take him to Maroua. Oh, of course, at least finally he is going. Finally, he's going to be on the campaign trail. I had announced earlier that he was expected in Maroua first on the 28th of September. It failed. He was still hanging in Geneva, still getting medical attention. And then they said it could happen on the 5th of October, which was 2 days ago. It failed because they were not so sure about his health. They had to take all this, they had to take all these measures. And finally, he is suspected in Maroua today. And so we see how it goes. We see how things go. So the confirmation of that trip was made in this release that you have here, announcing that he is traveling there. And this is actually signed by the senior divisional officer for Diamare, that's Diamare headquarters Garoua. That le préfet du département de Diamare a l'honneur d'inviter les populations du département de Diamare, en général et celles de la ville de Maroua en particulier, à se mobiliser le mardi 7 octobre 2025 pour réserver un accueil chaleureux au chef de l'État, son Excellence M. Paul Biya, lors de sa visite officielle. They actually call it visite officielle. They're not calling visite de campagne. This is actually still those kind of nonsense. This is an abuse. He's not going on an official visit. Paul Biya is going on a campaign visit. And so he's actually not President Paul Biya, nobody that's going to be candidate Paul Biya that is going out for campaigns. But you see, they have to put everything where they say visite officielle. Visite officielle à Maroua et principalement à la rencontre prévue au stade municipal Lamido Yaya Daïrou en Maroua. C'est les chefs traditionnels, les sacs, les chefs traditionnels de Salak, Gakle, Katuna, Yonkole, and all the likes and all not. Well, they're invited to be present and all of that. So this is the official release, at least press release that makes clear that finally all clearance have been given for Paul Biya to be on the campaign trail. We will be watching and observing, not because we're interested in the elections, no, but because we want to be taking the temperature for our own good. Absolutely important. We're taking the temperature for our own good. Of course, you could also see with this other document that came out before, mobilizing the entire security arsenal of La République du Cameroun to be out there and prepare for that visit. Visit officielle. All of them are saying visit officielle. Not supposed to be visit officielle. It's supposed to be visit de campagne. Visit le chef de l'État dans la région de l'extrême nord. Du 5 octobre 2025 Voilà. À l'occasion, événement en objet prévu mardi 7 octobre 2025 à Maroua. OK. BV prendre les dispositions nécessaires en vue d'organisation honneur militaire type C à l'arrivée et au départ de Maroua. De la très haute personnalité, ainsi qu'il suit: musique, garde présidentielle, drapeau de la République, drapeau de garde présidentielle, section de je ping, je ching, je chante, all of the je gauche, je droite, and all of that. Long story short, Paul Biya will be in Maroua today. We'll be watching very closely to see how things happen there in Maroua. Of course, you want to imagine how he will be moving. Perhaps this is the posture to preview. This could be a preview of how we'll see him moving there. That's in case you let you. I'm down of laughter because the way Dengapur moves these days can make you die of laughter. Of course, he's an ancient of days and it is normal for his age. What?
Paul Biya. Paul Biya. Paul Biya. Paul Biya. Merci, Paul Biya. Paul Biya. Paul Biya. Paul Biya.
Oh, yeah. And of course, expect that when he gets to Maroua, you will have the opportunity to listen to this old man again. That voice that you were hearing there, you will see the man physically because he's going to meet another man who cannot actually move Kavaye Yeye Nombril. He's from the far north, and of course, he's from Tokombere. You will hear him say this.
Paul Biya, oh yeah. Paul Biya, oh yeah. Paul Biya, oh yeah. Victoire, Paul Biya. Je vous regrette.
So you want to understand the reason Paul Biya will only be carried to go to that place at the very last minute like this, 5 days away from the election, is because, of course, there is no election, as Monseigneur Archbishop Cléda says. He says, nous apprenons que le scrutin présidentiel de 2018 a mobilisé 50 milliards de francs CFA et que celui de 2025 nécessite entre 65 et 70 milliards de francs CFA. Pourquoi donc tout ce gaspillage lorsqu'on connaît déjà le vainqueur? Neat and clear. So he explains that he will go out for this last minute. Archbishop Cléda is actually an indigene from the far north region of La République du Cameroun. So he says, look at this. So what is the use? Spending all this money, 70 billion, and all of those things for an election that, whose outcome was not even before the election itself was announced. What's the use? Pastor Paul Biya can only go to the field now and still expect very clearly that, of course, he's going to be winner. And we have seen all of what is, happening. So, my dear people of Southern Cameroon, my dear people of Amazonia, I want to thank each and every one of you that took time off to be part of this broadcast today. And I especially want to thank all of you who continue to, share your likes, who continue to share your thoughts in the comment section. That's why I've never disabled the comment section, because I like that feedback. Always go there, comment respectfully, give your opinions, and enrich our conversation. And of course, I want to also thank those who, when they go there too, they like, so that it gives us it's also a form of encouragement, right? And at the same time, I particularly want to say hello to all of those who never, finish watching without sharing the link or the links to my communication to as many people as possible. And most especially encourage those who have not yet subscribed to subscribe to this channel, so that they will also always be able to be part of the live shows. So thank you very much for your very kind attention, and we definitely we'll have something to talk about by the close of this day when we see what happens in Maroua. All right, have a nice time.